And first up tonight will be four-wheel drive. And Mike, let's talk a little bit about this, the object of the game, and how these differ from the two-wheel drive vehicles.
It's going to be a great competition. Of course, the name of the game is to pull the weight transfer machine all the way to the end of the track. The one pulling the weight transfer machine the furthest in the class is the winner. If more than one vehicle makes a full pull, then those vehicles will come back in a pull-off where the weight transfer machine will be made heavier, operating through a series of gears and transmissions that powers the box that rolls from over the rear tires onto the pan. It goes from rolling weight to dragging weight. One that takes it the furthest is the winner in the pull-off. They'll make it heavier. No one will make it all the way out. A very, very exciting competition. Here's the lead.
Chris Harrison.
Takes it down to the end of the track, right along the finish line area, and we're going to get a measurement for him. A good, strong run by the Beast out of Florida, a big 511 cubic inch Ford in that particular truck. He'll back up and get unhooked, and our measuring crew will go to work. Of course, the decision to be made is on the first puller. Do you leave the sled set the way it is, or do you make the sled heavier? The first puller has the option of taking the first pull or coming back in 3 places or 4 places.
We're going to look at this again now. This is a great pull for the first one.
Truck really hooked good out of the hole. The weight out on the front, that's the way you want it. You see the driver leaning out. He's watching the left front tire. He wants to see what kind of speed that tire's getting up. Steps back inside the truck, gets a hold of it. He's running the right-hand side of the track. No one's been on the track tonight, so the traction is probably the best over there. The pull goes on. This is going to be very important as to where that they will put the sled and where the pullers will hook to the track. Well, the first puller that goes to the class has not seen the track, and the gentleman that operates the sled, which is John Ellenbaum, has no idea what the traction is going to be on this Georgia clay tonight. Has a chance to run twice. Now, the sled has been reweighted, and John Ellenbaum did that very simply by changing the transmission. Not actually changed the weight of the sled, but makes the sled heavier quicker. The box sitting right beside him will go up the ramp much faster this time around, transferring it from a rolling weight to a dragging weight, hopefully stopping him within the limitations of the class. Now, John sits there for safety purposes. The Beast is hooked. He's ready to go. The first pull has been erased from the record book. It's now up to a 1976 Ford truck belonging to Chris Harrison out of Florida. Problem that hopefully it jumped out of gear. Now there's a situation in pulling. If the sled does not go past on a short arena like this one, the 40-foot mark, the puller still has another chance to go back to the starting line and pull again. The Beast looks like, from this vantage point, he may have dropped a drive shaft or a U-joint may have came out of the truck. Truck was hooked hard to the track and then jumped up in the air, and that usually lets you know that the drivetrain has turned loose on it, and there's definitely some kind of a problem with the truck, and he'll have to get it back into the pit area. Well, the Beast calls it a night at 34 feet and 2 inches. Of course, each vehicle that moves the sled gets a measurement.
And out of Grand Blanc, Michigan, here is Mike Slater in the shadow. And Mike with a little help tonight, not only from his brand new shiny truck, but also his dad's with him tonight.
Beautiful truck. They've traveled 965 miles to get here for this competition this weekend. This beautiful 1988 Chevrolet powered by a 572 cubic inch Chevrolet motor. And the injection system, the system that you're seeing right there, is homemade by Mike himself. Mike seems to think it's working real well. It's the air situation. He says he has a lot more control over the throttle. He can ease into it. And a lot of tracks you get into, you can't hammer the motor and give it the full throttle right off the starting line. Good shot of the hookup chains, the top one for pulling, the bottom one for a safety chain. This beautiful truck is brand new. This will be about the 10th time down the track on it. Let's see what he does. Here comes the shadow.
Right. Goes the left side of the track.
Went down the left side of the track and put all the power he had on it. The motor finally smothered itself down. The clutch unhooked when the RPM dropped way down on it. See the front end of it hooking up real well. Mike leading hard. Good traction on the track. Track seems to be staying in good shape as Mike goes down the track just about as hard as you can go anywhere in the country. getting right down to the end. A very beautiful pull for that gentleman.
And for the Shadow, Mike Slater tonight with a first pull of 97 feet, 1 inch. And that's pretty good.
Well, it's a short track tonight, and that could be a very fine pull. The sled's heavy. It's going to be a tough one to beat as the evening goes along.
And next up tonight, this is the Doe Runner, Durham, Georgia. That's Tony Everett at the wheel. His daddy Roy owns the truck. They're dairy farmers, row crop farmers, raise peanuts, among other things. And tonight they feel pretty good. This truck has performed real well for them the past couple of weeks.
It's a brand new truck. They just converted over to this style and built a new truck, and it's a father and son team. Mother goes along. Mrs. Roy Everett travels all over the country with it. This young gentleman, 20 years of age and in his 3rd year of college, does an outstanding job. There's his father giving him a little bit of last-minute advice as Tony gets ready to leave with the sled. They're talking about which side of the track they're going to run. This young man is a very tough competitor. He's one of the premier pullers in America, and he is double tough. But he should be.
He looks so young.
20 years of age, he runs a 621 cubic inch motor. This is the biggest engine, cubic inch-wise, in competition here tonight.
Wow.
Rolls the slack out of the chain, no jerk starts. You've got to leave with a tight or taut chain. Right now, he's got the green flag. What? The Doe Runner, he needs to really lay down a good pull.
Tony Everett. Like the best so far, Mike.
Tony did a great job. They had the truck geared right, everything hooked on the truck. This is a very consistent crew. Roy has been a top runner all over the nation for many, many years, and his son is just as good a driver. They wrench the truck consistently. That's an outstanding job. That's going to be a tough one to beat tonight.
I like the family atmosphere, too. You see a lot of that here. A lot of families come. Mom, dad, sister, brother. It's really a family sport anymore, isn't it?
Very family-orientated from the word go. These people travel in groups, and a beautiful job. All right, here's Tony as he leaves with the sled, and he rolls the sled just a little bit, maybe 5 or 6 feet. He can't roll it a long ways on a short course. Then he's into the big 600-inch motor hard. He's getting a good pull. You see the tires are hooking up well. He pulls it to a stop right there. The weight box stops him. That's his dad right there to the right of the screen. And a beautiful run for the Doe Runner out of Georgia.
So the Doe Runner moves into first place, 118 feet and 4 inches. Tony Everett at the wheel tonight, and right the man to beat. Well, Mike, I think the fans are getting their money's worth tonight. We see some great pulling, but I think maybe we could clear up how exactly the measuring is done for this. How does it work?
Well, actually, the measuring is very simple. Why don't I just show you the way it works?
All right, let's see.
When the weight transfer machine brings the vehicle to a stop on the track, a very simple process takes place, but it's a very valuable process. A stake is driven at the centermost portion of the sled, and then the sled is backed into the position on the starting line. At that time, a crew of 5 moves in for the measurement. Now, they're measured to the nearest 1/4 of an inch with the United States Hot Rod Association. And this is a very, very intricate part of the program. The tape is tied across the track, the measurement takes place, and then the measurement is passed to the official that records it. It's a very simple process, but it's something that's very, very important and makes the difference between several $100s in competition like this.
And we are in the Albany Civic Center in Albany, Georgia. And next up in the 4-wheel drive out of Valdosta, Georgia, USA, is James Grainer. Nothing fancy, just a 67 Ford, 605 cubic inch engine. And this one, I would think, Mike, would not be unlike the 621 we just saw. A lot of power under that hood.
Nothing fancy on the outside, but when you've got 605 cubic inches of Ford motor pounding the ground, you've got something fancy on the inside. And this little truck really hooks good. Of course, the mark to beat on a short track is 118 feet and 4 inches. 118 and 4. Let's see if James can do it. Watching the temperature, building the heat up a little bit, cleans the motor out, getting ready to drop the hammer on it, lower the throttle. The big C-Peck's ready to turn the tires. Let's see if he can make it all the way out the end. A good running truck. Nothing fancy.
might be good enough for second place. I don't think he beat 118, but we'll see.
He's shooting at the dough runner. He's going to end up a little bit short, but a very fine pass. Might have been geared just a little bit off base. Might have liked to have a little more tire speed to get it down and out for a full, but a good run for one call, nothing fancy.
James Greiner out of Valdosta. You know, you often say, Mike, that the first 75 feet are so critical. How did he play the first 75 feet here?
In this particular arena with a short track, it's really, you have a lot less to work with. Now, he takes the option to just drop the hammer on it, bring the tires up as quick as possible. Didn't roll with it, left hard, got the tire speed up, and in this kind of track, you can do it. He's got good traction, it's a good track, and it's staying together very, very well.
So the difference from an outdoor track to this track is you got to make your move a little bit earlier than you would on an outdoor track.
Most definitely. An indoor track, a short 120-foot track like we're running on tonight, you've got to do it all, and you've got to do most of it right off the starting line.
Gotcha. And for James Greiner out of Valdosta, nothing fancy, but not too bad. 108 feet 6 inches and good enough for second place. And as the Ford Budweiser U.S. Hot Rod Association Truck Pull Winter Nationals continue, here out of Miramar, Florida, is Larry Harrison and the Pumpkin. Larry started out driving the streets, been doing it for about 11 years, and he and his lovely wife, Yolanda, here tonight in Albany, Georgia.
Well, this is a tough-running Dodge truck. It's short wheelbase. Here again, a lot of guys don't like the short wheelbase, but the Pumpkin truck works very, very well on an indoor track like this. 511 cubic inches of wedge Dodge. Now, most of the motors we've seen tonight have been fuel-injected engines. This one's a carbureted motor. The big carburetor setting underneath the air scoop you see there on the screen. The carburetor, a lot of people say, will flow more air than the fuel injection, and that's so important when you get into motorsports. It's not only the amount of fuel you put into the engine, but the amount of air in it. That's two combinations that it takes to make a machine run. You've got to have fuel, you've got to have air, and you've got to have spark. And there's a good look at Larry Harrison. Larry's going to bring the Pumpkin to life. He needs to go 118 feet 5 inches to take the lead. This man could very well do it. Checks the left front tire and goes with the Pumpkin. Good hook. He's down deep. It's going to be real close.
It's going to be close. Like Cinderella, the Pumpkin has come to life here in Albany, and he may have the lead depending on where they mark it.
I think he's going to be on the short side of going to the lead, but a very fine hook for the Pumpkin truck. Excellent job of pulling. This young gentleman is really making a mark in competition tonight.
Wants to make sure we say hey to all his friends down in South Fort Lauderdale, which is where Larry's from. And for Larry Harrison and the Pumpkin, his first pull, 107 and 3 inches, which right now would qualify him for third place, right?
Good shot at third, 107.3.
You know, one of the great things about coming to an event like that, not only is the crowd, but also the noise involved, too. But if you sit a little too close to the action, you may want to visit the concession stand. Mike Galloway has got probably the two most important things you can have if you sit close to the action. They're earplugs. They just fit little foam things right in your ear, and you probably can't hear anything I'm saying, can you? You got that money you owe me? And it's time for the pride of Canada. This is Arnold Coburn out of Toronto in the Canadian Warrior, a 75 Chevy, and again, a lot of thunder under that hood.
This gentleman, a past Canadian champion, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. A very fine running truck. He is the 1985 New York State champion. Truck Pull of the Year in 1984. 85. This gentleman's been at it a while. He's very, very tough. We've seen his daughter drive this truck a number of times and do a beautiful job with it. The dad's out on the winter circuit. He left the Canada country and came down to run the southern circuit this time around.
Well, that guy, he looks like he means business, just the way it looks, huh?
Very intent. A lot of concentration as he gets ready to hook to the sled. Of course, only 120 foot to make money tonight. He definitely needs to do that. 118 feet 4 inches, the lead. The Canadian Warrior, this truck has all the capabilities in the world of winning it tonight.
So it's the Canadian Warrior against the peanut farmer from Doran, Tony Everett.
GMC, General Motors of Canada.
I've heard of it.
Green flag, it's time for the Canadian Warrior. Watch him work. He could definitely make a full pull. ending up just a little bit short, but dropping right in that 108, 107 mark. See a little heat come off the headers on that beautiful big motor. 568 cubic inch Chevrolet.
Mike, it looked a little bit like he was nursing it at first. Was he having trouble, or what was going on?
No, he rolled with the truck a lot further than most of the pullers have done here tonight. Eased the truck out, let it roll, tried to let it hook to the track a little bit more before he actually hammered it. There you can see he's not in it real hard at this time. Right here's where he opens the butterflies perfectly level. That means everything is on the ground. He's running the right-hand side of the track, staying real close to the out-of-bounds marker. Starts to bring it across track. It begins to pull down, lose a little power. A good run for that truck. Not enough to put him in the lead, but a real fine run for our Canadian friend.
And for Arnold Coburn out of Toronto, the Canadian Warrior with its first pull tonight of 107 feet and 7 inches. Well, there, in all its white glory, is Skip Smith. Behind the wheel of the Mrs. Smith Delivers. It's a 55 Chevy. Actually, that body Skip found in the woods just outside of his home in West Palm Beach, Florida. He liked it, fixed it up, put it on a chassis he already had, and right now he looks like he's got an ice cream truck.
In the early stages of being completed for competition, Mrs. Smith, one of the golden years of Chevrolet truck. Beautiful job, classic. First time that I have seen a 55 Chevrolet panel in competition. And I think when this truck is done, it's going to make a very eye-appealing truck. The tires have been tough underneath the back of the body, much like the pro gas cars that is so popular now in the street cruising. Front end has been cut down, narrowed in. Truck is real compact, short, in close. This truck really could hook to the track well. Track's in good shape. Let's see if he can make that pull that's going to take to win it. Mrs. Smith.
Only had the cab a couple of weeks.
Slack out of the chain, and look at the green light on the sled. Everything's in operable position. It's time to go with Mrs. Smith. Very fine hook, a very good hook for a new truck. Won't take long before this truck is dialed in as a top competitor throughout the nation.
And Mrs. Smith really delivers. Skip tonight pulls at 108 feet and 2 inches, and that is a very fine pull. As a matter of fact, it's good enough to move Mrs. Smith Delivers into third place. But the winner from Doran, Georgia, the Doe Runner, Tony Everett, and nothing fancy with James Greiner at the wheel out of Valdosta finishes second.